The Congressional Oversight Committee on Official Development Assistance Act of 1996 was created pursuant to Section 8 of Republic Act Number 8182 as amended. On the part of the Senate, the meeting of the Congressional Oversight Committee on the Official Development Assistance is hereby called to order. Would like to acknowledge the members of the Senate panel present, Senator Bong Revilla, who were designated, who is present today. And let me also acknowledge the other members, Senator Sani Angara. Nandito pa pala. Sorry. The other members of the Senate panel, Senator Sani Angara, Senator Grace Poe, Senator Amy Marcos, Senator J.V. Orcito, Senator Coco Pimentel, Senator Risa Hontiveros for the minority. And with us present today is my seatmate, Senator Bong Revilla. We also would like to welcome my co-chairperson, my counterpart in the House of Representatives, our former President, Representative Gloria Macapagal Arroyo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the part of the House, I would like to call this meeting to order, and I would like to acknowledge the members of the House panel. Congresswoman Rachel Arenas, Congresswoman Joboy Aquino, Congressman Eric Yap. I think that's
Virtual, ma'am.
and those who are virtually present, can we ask you to? There's Eric Yap, virtually present. So the other members are Congressman Joey Salceda, but I don't see him here. But for the record, Congresswoman Stella Kimbo, Congressman Wilbert Lee, and Congressman Bordado is here. And Congressman Bordado is here. Okay. Did I miss anyone? Okay, thank you. And so I would also like to thank everybody who is present here today. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Madam GMA. For the record, may I ask the Legislative Committee Secretary of the panel to acknowledge the presence of our invited guests who are here with us this morning.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning po. For today's organizational meeting of the Congressional Oversight Committee on the Official Development Assistance, or COCODA, we have the following resource persons. From the Department of Finance, we have Assistant Secretary Neil Cabiles. From the National Economic and Development Authority, we have Assistant Secretary Roderick M. Planta. From the Commission on Audit, we have Assistant Commissioner Marta Rosana C. Sese and OIC Director Maria Teresa B. Ferreros. From the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, we have Deputy Director Roberto B. Quintos. From the Department of Public Works and Highways, we have Senior Undersecretary Emil K. Sadain. From the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, we have Mr. Eddie B. Abugan Jr. And from the Department of Transportation, we have Undersecretary Timothy John Batan. That's all, Your Honor.
Thank you, ComSec. For my opening statement, to my colleagues in the Senate, honorable counterparts from the House of Representatives, our dedicated partners from the Executive Department, particularly our economic managers comprised of the DOF, Secretary Ben Diokno, NEDA, Director General BSP, NEDA Director General Arsenio Balisacan, BSP Governor Felipe Medalla, other guests and visitors, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm honored to share the conduct and facilitation of this meeting with our good colleagues from the House of Representatives. We are holding this meeting just in time before we go on recess at the end of this week to formally convene and organize this Oversight Committee on official development assistance. More importantly, we take this opportunity to meet and interact with the country's economic team and to particularly be briefed on the status of ODA-funded infrastructure flagship projects, ODA-funded programs contracted for COVID-19 response, as well as on key implementation issues and concerns and possible remedial measures. In NEDA's 2021 ODA portfolio review, implementation setbacks have been experienced by 95 ODA projects, and the impact of COVID-19 pandemic continued to affect most of these projects. The report raised concern on the aforementioned issues related to government, funding institution approvals, design scope technical specifications, procurement site condition availability, budget and funds flow, input and cost performance of contractor/consultant, PMO, manpower/capacity, institutional support, legal, policy, and issuances, and the COVID-19. In calendar year 2022, NEDA likewise cited that out of the 70 ongoing ICC-approved ODA projects, 53 were reported to have encountered critical issues requiring immediate resolution and facilitation to mitigate negative impacts on project timelines and objectives, and at times needed appropriate action and project reapproval by the ICC/NEDA board. With these, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that this interaction between the Oversight Committee and our respected economic managers would be productive in a sense that the grants and loans channeled to us by the international community would be availed of, managed, and implemented with the highest degree of integrity, competence, and above all, strictly in accordance with their purpose and objectives. Madam Co-Chairman, any opening remarks?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Senate Chairman, members, resource persons. Welcome to this organizational meeting. This is a sentimental journey for me. I was the principal author and co-sponsor of the Official Development Act of 1996, and I'm happy to be able to share in the task of seeing how that law that I authored and sponsored has been implemented. The Official Development Act of 1996 primarily excluded official development assistance from the foreign debt limit imposed by the Foreign Borrowings Act of RA 4860 as amended by Presidential Decree number 1939. Presidential Decree 1939, the Foreign Borrowings Act authorized the President of the Philippines to obtain foreign loans. And the Presidential Decree 1939 amended the debt ceiling from 1 billion in the beginning to 10 billion. And my law, sought successfully to exempt ODA from the 10 billion ceiling. Now, for the ODA to be excluded, it must be defined properly, and the law of RA 8555 required that ODA is defined as a grant or a loan that has a grant element of at least 25%. Now, how do you estimate what is 25%? The RA 8182 had a rather technical definition of what is official development. But in more or less layman's language, the grant element is the difference between the face value of the loan and the present value of the stream of payments on the loan. So that is and therefore the grant element should be that difference should be 25%, at least 25% of the face value of the loan. Also, the law said that the average grant element of all ODA should not be less than 40%, and the interest rate cannot exceed 7%. So that was the essence of the law. In addition, the law also mandated that ODA be used for equitable development. and that NEDA should endeavor to obtain ODA of approximately 5% of the total ODA loan from the preceding year. Another important provision of the law was that the counterpart funds to implement each ODA project should be provided in the National Expenditure Program. The law refers only to counterpart funds, not to the loan proceeds or the interest payment, because as far as the loans themselves are concerned, Presidential Decree number 1177, which to my understanding has not yet been repealed, provides for automatic appropriation of debt servicing. So therefore, we don't have we don't have to say anything about that because that's not part of the law that we are overseeing. And then finally, the law provides that there should be a mechanism for the equitable distribution of ODA funds to all provinces. So these are the elements, Mr. Co-Chairman, that should be the subject of the oversight of our committee. Mr. Chairman, some of the House members have requested that our organization meeting today be abbreviated because we have an urgent meeting at 12 o'clock in the House of Representatives. But of course, the two committees can meet separately. So we will excuse ourselves at 11 o'clock to make room for our next meeting of 12 o'clock. So in the meantime, may I therefore conclude my remarks with a few points. On housekeeping, since today is the last Tuesday of the month, I propose that we meet once per session month on the last Tuesday of each month. And on substantive matters, may I propose an agenda that is consistent with the task of the Oversight Committee as mandated in Republic Act 8182. So I propose that in our meeting on July 25, the last Tuesday of July, we check for the year 2022, the year that just passed, on whether the ODA with grant element of at least 25% was indeed excluded from the loan ceiling of $10 billion. And if it was it was excluded, then what were the loans that were part of the $10 billion? I think we should see that as oversight committee. Also, whether in 2022 NED obtained ODA of 5% of the total ODA loan based on the year 2021, because that's what the law provides for, and we'd like to see whether NEDA has complied with that mandate. And then, for our next meeting on Tuesday, August 29, by that time, the NEP for 2024 shall have been submitted to Congress. So I propose that we check on whether the ODA that is submitted in the NEP will meet the criteria on equitable development, and even the 2022 and even the 2023 expenditures by the time, and on whether the counterpart funds to implement each ODA project are provided in the NEP. So, Mr. Chairman and committee secretaries of both houses, I hope that our function is very clear and that our agenda, at least for the next two meetings, will follow the function in a very logical manner. So let us work hand in hand to ensure that our ODA is managed in accordance with RA 8182 as amended by RA 8555. Thank you, Mr. Co-Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chairperson. Our committee secretary is taking notes, and we will send the different departments the request by our good co-chairman on the data that was mentioned and on the details that were mentioned earlier. But Madam Co-Chairman will proceed in the approval of the rules for the Oversight Committee. In order to set our Oversight Committee in order, we have before us members, COCODA Resolution Number 1 on the proposed rules of procedure of the Congressional Oversight Oversight Committee on the Official Development Assistance. Copies of the proposed rules on COCODA were distributed to the members of the Oversight Committees last week. So may I ask if members of both the Senate and the House of Representatives panels have read and reviewed the said rules? The floor is open for any proper motion to have it approved.
Mr. Chairman, since I mentioned in my opening remarks what I think are the functions of our oversight committee, I would like therefore to amend these proposed rules. For Rule 2.2, it should be determined that all ODA loans or loans and grants are managed in accordance with RA 8182 as amended by RA 8555. So not just the equitable distribution, but everything else, the exclusion from 10 billion, what's under the 10 billion, those are the things that the Oversight Committee should do. And for 2.3, Mr. Chairman, I think it would be too much for us to monitor all ongoing ODA assisted projects because that is not what the law, the law talks about debt ceilings, the law talks about equitable distribution. So monitoring should be in accordance with those criteria. So so 2.3 would be monitor ODA assisted projects to see that they comply with RA 8182 as amended by RA 855. So those are my two amendments, Mr. Chairman, that I would propose.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there any objection to the proposed amendment to the rules? Hearing none, the proposed amendment is carried. Other than that, any more comments on the proposed rules? Hearing none, is there any motion to approve the proposed rules subject to the proposal and amendments that were stated by Madam Co-Chairperson?
I so
Mr.
move,
President.
Mr. Chairman.
On the part of the Senate, I move for the approval of the rules with amendments subject to style.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion to approve the rules for the Congressional Oversight Committee on Official Development Assistance Law, subject to the proposal of our good Madam Co-Chairperson, is deemed approved. With the manifestation of our good Madam good Co-Chairperson, we will request the different agencies that are here present today to submit to us your reports. As what was intimated earlier, we will defer the discussion today. But please submit to us your report, especially your PowerPoint presentation, so we can abbreviate and look at it on our own time. And we will have another session to be briefed on the outstanding ODA and also on the issues on its implementation in various projects. So with that, we'll defer it for now. But please submit to us the report so we can process it internally. Okay. Madam Co-Chairperson, any more matters for now?
Other matters on our side, Mr.
Thank you. Thank you. With that, ano pa tayo?
Wala, first weeks lang naman yun, pwede na kami magpapirma siguro. Kasi papublish pa natin.
Oo nga. Take note mo yung sinabi niya. Okay, wala naman objection doon.
Dito lang naman yun sa signature page niya naman natin. Pinapasok na natin.
Papasok niyo na para masign. Yeah. On the part of the Senate, the Congressional Oversight Committee on Official Development Assistance is hereby adjourned.
On the part of the House, the same is hereby adjourned. Thank you.